All right. Well, let's talk about the Thanks-Killing concert at the Tsongas Center on the 17th of this month, and it has its roots at the Middle East in Cambridge. At that first Thanks-Killing, who was playing at the Middle East?
Oh man, I can't even remember all of the bands that were playing because I know we did it. The first time there's probably 5 or 6 bands, but I do remember that good friends of ours called the Venetia Fair were playing at that show, and we had a long history with them, just playing shows locally, especially on the North Shore. And Joe Acuity, who played keys in that band and did great backup vocals, would eventually join Ice Nine Kills. So there's definitely that connection to that show. I think that was one of the first shows we ever played with them. So who knows if he would be in the band today had they not been on that lineup.
Right. And then, the Thanks-Killing Show has graduated to bigger places. Now you're playing the Tsongas Center at UMASS Lowell, being a guy from the area. That must be kind of a thrill, right, to play a big room like that. You must have seen shows there as a kid, right?
Oh, man. The first show I ever saw there was, it must have been in '99. It was the Blink-182 Loser Kids Tour.
Oh, man.
It was them and Silverchair and Phoenix TX, like 3 of my favorite bands. And I remember that was the only time I ever lost my wallet. It was a great night, but it was the only time I ever lost my wallet in my entire life. So I'm hoping when I go back to the arena this time, maybe I find it in the Lost and Found.
Yeah, check the Lost and Found, and keep a chain on your current wallet, for sure.
Yeah, of course. But what's so funny, too, about that lineup, obviously I was a huge Blink fan and a Silverchair fan, but I was also a big fan of Phoenix TX. And, 20 years later, we'd end up collaborating with the singer of Phoenix TX, this very talented guy named Will, and he actually ended up singing and co-writing one of the songs on the first Silver Screen. There's a lot of strange little tie-ins to that first show at the Tsongas Arena that would end up, playing a part in the Ice Nine Kills history. So, very excited.
That's very cool. That's an excellent story. Are you planning anything special? I mean, it is Thanks-Killing. So is there anything special or out of the ordinary people might see at the show?
Absolutely. It's going to be a very historical show. And I know a lot of people say that, it's a historical show. But this is the first time in the band's history that we are going to be using pyrotechnics.
Really?
We're really showing out the big guns here. We got fire, and we've got cold spark, and we've got all this crazy stuff planned that we've never tried at a show. So, and if it goes wrong, you might see us go up in flames. So it could be great on many different levels.
That's tough at an Ice Nine Kills show because you don't know what would be part of the show. It's like, oh, look, Spencer's on fire. That's so cool. And then, exactly. Look, those EMTs look like the real deal right there,
That's actually a good idea. We might fake some sort of emergency. That's not a bad idea.
I can't believe Ice Nine Kills has never had pyro at any of your shows.
Yeah, it can be very expensive, and we've just started to get to the point in our career where we're playing large enough size scale venues, headlining, to be able to pull it off. So we figured what better place and what better state to first make our entrance into the fire pyrotechnic world than Massachusetts.
I have a suggestion. Obviously, you might need extra safety personnel for this, but along with the pyro, you should set up a line of turkey fryers on the front of the stage and drop frozen turkeys into those. That would be quite a show.
Now, see, that's why we need to hire you as our set designer, because that's actually a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, Thanks-Killing, What does Ice Nine Kills do for Thanksgiving? Are you guys going to take some time off, or are you guys going to be on the road?
We're on the road, but we always try to work it out to obviously have the Thanksgiving day off because people don't usually want to go to a show on Thanksgiving anyway. So the night before, we are playing at the night before Thanksgiving, we're playing at the Hulu Theater at Madison Square Garden.
Wow!
And I've got a bunch of family that still live in New York City. And so the next morning, my sister and I are driving from New York back to Massachusetts and to spend it with my mom and her family, and then hop on a plane the next day to get back to the tour in Georgia.
Wow. So it's like, the night before you'll be chopping someone's head off, and then you'll be carving a turkey. Do you carve the turkey at the family Thanksgiving, or is that somebody else's job?
Well, they used to have someone else carve it, but, with my newfound success as a murderer on stage, they let me do all the nice work.
That's awesome. I would imagine the Charnas family Thanksgiving is very much like a Norman Rockwell painting, except you're sitting at the kids' table with eyeliner on and blood on your hands, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's sort of a combination of The Last Supper and the dinner from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 1.
So after Thanksgiving, after the holidays, the tour and everything, what is the next project? Because Ice Nine Kills, you guys are branching out into everything, not just music anymore, movies, merchandise. What's the next big project for you guys?
Well, we've been working really hard on our next music video, which is really like a movie. We try to make every one of our videos have a cinematic flair, but this one I think we took to the next level. And we're going to be releasing that probably sometime around the holiday season, probably around Christmas, Hanukkah time. So we'll be working on that right when we get off the road. And then January will be a little bit of downtime where we'll be probably starting working on some new music. And then February, back to Europe for a very long headlining tour. Very excited about it. It's the biggest European headlining tour we've ever done. And so many of the dates are selling out, so they're actually having to upgrade the venues and adding like a second London show. And we're just really excited for 2023, man.
That's awesome. I always wanted to be in a band where I could say, I'm huge in Europe.
Right, exactly. It reminds me sort of like in the movie, what is it, Singles? When
right.
Hey, man, they can say whatever they want about us in the U.S., but we are loved in the Netherlands.
That's right. We're big in Japan. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. All right, well, Spencer Charnas, Ice Nine Kills, the tour's hitting the Tsongas Center, UMASS Lowell, November 17th. Also appearing will be Black Veil Brides, who put on an amazing show. Motionless in White will be there, and Atreyu, who've been doing it for a long time, and they're also amazing. One last thing I want to ask you, as an aficionado of the genre, and as something that's come up recently, I don't know if you've been able to take in any TV while you've been so busy, but have you watched Dahmer at all?
I have been hearing from everyone under the sun that this is the best thing ever, and I need to watch it because I really do like that true crime stuff, and obviously I've heard about Dahmer for a number of years, and we actually did a shirt in poor taste back in the day with Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels, and we called it Dom and Dahmer.
Oh my God!
And, it was a big hit, but I definitely need to see the TV show because I heard it's fantastic.
Yeah, I've got one of your T-shirts. It's the OJ one that says "Lady Killer," and he's wearing the tracksuit, giving the 2 thumbs up. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a shirt that got us banned from selling anything in Salem for a number of years. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was asked to change my T-shirt at work, and that's WAAF. That was back in the day. Yeah. So if I can shock the people that at AAF, then you did a good job.
Yeah.
But with the Dahmer,
you're doing something right.
Right. Yeah. You're hitting that button. But with the Dahmer thing, I just want to ask, because you're very knowledgeable in the genre of the horror, TV, true crime, movies, things like that. Why does America love serial killers so much? Because there's a big uproar with this Dahmer one of kids wanting to dress up like Dahmer for Halloween and parents being alarmed and people saying that this is glorifying what he did. But there's always been movies and TV shows and podcasts, whatever, about serial killers. And America loves it. Why do you think America loves serial killers?
I think, I think there's a lot of similarities to the reason why people like horror. I think that whether it's conscious or subconscious, people are all scared of death and scared of their own mortality. And I think watching these kind of shows or watching these kind of movies is sort of a safe way to deal with the imminent fact that we're all going to die. And I think that that's part of the reason. I also think it sort of goes in line with that whole subculture of things like, heavy metal music and rock that always seem to piss off the status quo. And, kids like doing things that their parents don't approve of. So listening to, a Maiden or a Black Sabbath record back in the day, the equivalent now is, hey, Mom, look, I'm watching this Diner show.
Right. I think it's because, and it's funny because this is also a line from another show that, if you have time, called Inside Man with Stanley Tucci. Fantastic. It's new on Netflix, but he plays a person who's murdered his wife, not a serial killer, and but he's super intelligent. And the warden asks him, what happened? What brought you here? You're not a murderer. And he said, I think it's everybody's a murderer. You just got to meet the right person. And I think it's like everybody's got that inside of them. More people are able to suppress it more. But his thing is like, you're with the right people in the right situation, and everybody's capable. That's, to me, I was thinking why America loves serial killers, because everybody's maybe has one inside of them.
I can see that too. I think everybody, no matter who they are, has a dark side to them, and maybe this is shows like that, and horror movies are sort of their outlet to sort of to satisfy that dark part of their soul without actually going out and doing something terrible. So that's why I think that those shows and horror movies, even more so because horror movies are just make-believe for the most part, are important, because I think they allow us to live out that sort of dark fantasy within us without actually hurting anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that the movies and these shows don't actually equate to real-life violence, because I certainly have never heard of the story of a serial killer that was like, obsessed with Friday the 13th or Halloween, and they found all these VHS copies of these movies in the guy's house. I think we would have heard about that by now, right?
Oh yeah. Well, you can like Spencer said, you can get an outlet for those fantasies at the Thanx-Killing concert at the Tsongas Center at UMass Lowell. Ice Nine Kills, Black Veil Brides, Motionless in White, and Atreyu on stage. Get your tickets now. Spencer Charnas, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I appreciate it, and happy Thanks-Killing.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Mike. It's always a pleasure catching up with you, and I hope I see you